Welcome back. Well, with the problem surrounding the Fukushima nuclear reactor showing no signs of abating, the Japanese government should move to overhaul the energy sector or risk derailing a nascent recovery. Let's take a look at this report.
It's the crisis that just keeps coming. Leaks of radioactive water from troubled Fukushima Daiichi nuclear reactor have alarmed Japan's neighbors and cast a shadow over Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's can-do administration, which for once looks at a loss. Japanese Trade and Economics Minister recently admitted that the government bears some but not all responsibility for the issue.
It is undeniable that the response to the contaminated water problem has been incoherent. The decommissioning and work of dealing with the contaminated water, the daily operation in other words, will have to be handled by the operator of the plant, Tokyo Electric, which has to have the actual responsibility.
Before the earthquake that sparked the Fukushima crisis, around 30% of Japan's electricity was generated by its nuclear reactors. But with most plants going idle since, the country's turned to imported fossil fuels. And the same weekend that has steered Japanese exporters has made those imported fuels more expensive.
If the nuclear power plants aren't restarted as we go into the winter months, you're probably talking about 250,000 barrels of oil equivalent extra being required by Japan.
Despite the cost, many Japanese remain against putting the idle reactors back online. The government wants to restart reactors in other areas. It's like starting a new battle at the end of World War II. So what are Abe's options? Independent providers say more electricity could be generated from gas and renewables if the government paved the way for smaller companies like Enid to enter the heavy monopolized utility sector.
I think the key to Abenomics' success is whether or not he can pull off a concrete policy change. If customers had more of a choice in who their provider is, the competition between suppliers would lead to an increase in service, and more choices will appear.
So while Abe has been praised for his bold moves to boost growth, he will need to tackle even more ambitious reforms or risk seeing this crisis trickle further into the economy. Business Desk, DD News.
Some challenges there for Abenomics. Well, the former chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission, Dr. Anil Kakodkar, has said the future of nuclear energy is bright in India, and he said that India should be able to achieve 20,000 megawatts of nuclear energy by 2020.
With me is Mr. Anil Kakodkar, who is a well-known name in the field of nuclear energy. So welcome to Doordarshan News. So my first question, a simple question. What is the future of nuclear energy in this country?
Well, I think future is bright and has to be bright because, as has been made out in this session, India, in terms of energy resources and energy demand, the situation is quite different than most of the other countries. Our demand, I think, is in years to come is at a level which is going to be the largest in the world. Our resources in per capita terms is quite low. So we have the largest gap to bridge.
So, but continuing with nuclear energy, there is not as much enthusiasm when it comes to nuclear energy in this country. We are seeing lots of problems. You know the problems. Why so?
Well, that problems are there is something that we need to recognize and address. But I think we should also see that the way things are happening in post-Fukushima world, the picture is actually brightening. The pace may be slow, but I think there are some fundamental reasons why it is happening.
So, Fukushima was a dampener, but don't you think another such incident could turn the clock back?
See, there is this kind of issue of how the public mind reacts. And in case of nuclear, because people kind of mistakenly link it with nuclear weapons, nuclear power. Actually, there is no connection, that the two cannot be compared. But because that happens in public mind, you have this issue of people reacting that way, and that I think we need to explain.
Coming to solar power, the cost it seems are still high. You cannot have solar power because the equipment is costly, and then the final production will also be costly.
Well, that's the situation. Let's say it was some time back, and maybe to some extent even today. But solar power is very fast moving towards the grid parity, and I think it's a matter of only a few years. I think we need to recognize that for a new technology there are always entry barriers.
In next 10 years, how much will the solar energy and the nuclear energy contribute to India's total energy scenario?
Well, I think there is already a plan under the Jawaharlal Nehru National Solar Mission, and which actually talks about something like 20,000 megawatts by 2020. Now, I think that plan is very much on track, and I do believe that that will be realized. Same thing on nuclear. We had this, planning done as a 5-year planning cycle, and I do believe that crossing around 20,000 megawatts by 2020 should be possible even now.
Thank you so much, sir. So that was very optimistic, Mr. Anil Kakodkar, talking exclusively to Doordarshan News. Sidhant Sibal with camera person Ganesh Lal for DD News.